With WrestleMania 40 just around the corner, what better way is there to reflect on the decades of history involving the greatest spectacle in wrestling than having a good old-fashioned quiz? My co-host, Thanasi, has graciously stepped into the ring to answer 10 questions that I have on the subject of WrestleMania. Feel free to play along at home and let us know in the comments how many questions you got correct. Thanasi, there is only one thing left for me to ask before we officially start, and that is, are you ready?
Much like the fans at every DX promo. Yeah, I'm ready.
Question number one. In what year was the first WrestleMania?
First WrestleMania, I believe. So we are in 2024 now. We have to go back 39 years, not 40 years, because we didn't start at WrestleMania 0. And that would take us to the year 1985.
That is correct. Question number two. Which wrestler has competed at the most WrestleMania events?
Oh, this is actually a really good one. So it's not even about wins and losses. However, I am going to select The Undertaker because he's had close to 30 or so WrestleMania appearances, and out of 40, that's a massive conversion ratio. And I'm not sure there's anyone else that actually has come close because they've extended him so much, intentionally trying to get the streak there. So Undertaker is my answer.
And Undertaker is the correct answer. He's competed at 27, which is quite impressive, must say.
Remarkable.
Question number three. Including WrestleMania 40, who will have been or has been in the most WrestleMania main events?
Oh, okay. Most WrestleMania main events. Let me actually count these out. I think it's between either Roman or Hogan. Hogan was at WrestleMania ones, twos, threes, not fours, not fours. It was at five, six, seven, eight. I'm going to count nine as well because that was the last match, technically, even though he wasn't billed. So that gets us to eight. And you said most WrestleMania main events. Well, I got to 10, he was gone. Okay, that's Hogan. Roman Reigns was in 31, 32, 33, 34, not 35. That was the women's triple threat. Not 36 either because he was out during the pandemic. He was at 37, he was at 38, and he was at 39. That gets us to seven. So Hogan, Hulk Hogan.
You neglected the first part of my question, which was including WrestleMania 40. And including WrestleMania 40, Roman Reigns goes from 7 to 9. So he will eclipse Hulk Hogan. And as that was part of the question, I'm going to have to count that as incorrect on your part.
Hold on, when you say he goes from 7 to 9, you're counting the night one main event as a main event.
Yes, because that's my decision that night one main events count as main events.
Well, la di da.
Uh, Question number four. Which venue has hosted WrestleMania the most times?
Oh, okay, this one's hard. Um, let's think here. Which venue, not which city, right?
Which venue?
So if it's okay. I'm thinking of some of just the repeat ones. So I know Detroit, I think, has had either two or three. Madison Square Garden, I think, has had, I think two are coming to mind, but maybe there's one that I'm missing. So I'm thinking that maybe that's three as well. Um, Houston definitely has two. Oh, Houston had 17, 25, and 38. And I think 32 maybe counts as Houston as well, Arlington. So I think I'm actually going to go with Houston, Texas.
It's not a venue, but if you had it correct, I would have counted it. The correct answer was
Well,
one that
the
you already named. and that was Madison Square Garden, which had three.
Oh, so
So
no one else has had three.
no other venue has had three.
No other venues had three. So they've
The
been in cities.
And that's right. Obviously, America is very vast, uh, geographically, and has lots of really big arenas and stadia around.
What were the three for Madison Square Garden? It was 10, 20, and
The very first.
WrestleMania 1 was at Madison Square Garden. Okay.
Question number five. Which WrestleMania was the first to be referred to in Roman numerals?
WrestleMania 1 didn't have a number. And therefore, logically, it's WrestleMania 2. Even though the Roman numerals convention continued for a very long time, but it did begin with WrestleMania 2.
That is,
Actually,
do you want to lock that
I've
in?
got the poster in my head, and I think in my head it's like I don't know why, but I'm imagining like a graphic that is composed of like three red lines that compose the letter two in Hindu Arabic. So maybe it's three.
Do you want to lock in three?
I'm gonna lock in three.
That's some good thinking, Thanasi, because three is actually the correct answer.
Oh,
As you had it correct, at WrestleMania 2, they still had the lines that indicated 2, as we know it. WrestleMania 3 was the first time they used Roman numerals. The more you know, huh?
the more you think about it.
Question number 6. What is the longest match in WrestleMania history?
Oh, okay. Well, the one that's coming to mind straight away is the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. And I mean, that was 62 minutes or something like that. I'm trying to think of, was there anything that possibly went longer than that? We've had Hell in a Cells. We've had four-way elimination matches. Um, no, but surely a 62-minute Iron Man match has to take the cake. So I'm going to go with WrestleMania 12, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels.
That is the correct answer, Thanasi. It came in at 1 hour, 1 minute, and 36 seconds. And quite frankly, I mean, it would take quite the match to ever break that record. On a similar note, question number 7. What is the shortest match in WrestleMania history?
Okay, so I think the number that they've assigned to it, or the number of seconds, is not completely accurate, as were a number of things at that edition's WrestleMania. But I'm pretty sure it was WrestleMania 32, The Rock versus Eric Rowan, where I think Lillian Garcia even, who had returned to announcing around that time, she even announced, and here is your winner with a like record-breaking result or something like that. So I'm gonna go with that match, Rock versus Eric Rowan.
That is absolutely correct. The official time they give is 6 seconds. But obviously that may not be entirely accurate, as you mentioned. Question number 8. Which state has hosted WrestleMania the most times? You mentioned before cities, but which state has done it the
So
most number of times?
I'm thinking of California, I'm thinking of Texas, Florida, and New York. When I think of these cities, I'm going to go with, well, we already said New York before. Madison Square Garden had three, and that was at WrestleMania 1, 3, and 20. I think the next time that WrestleMania was in New York, or actually, no, I was going to say 29, but that one I believe counts as New Jersey. They had NYNJ, so I'm not going to count that as the same city, even though it's the same general area. With Florida, I know we've had Tampa Bay, had Orlando, had Miami. So that already takes us up to three. And I think Miami was 28, Orlando was 24, Tampa Bay was going to be 36, 29, 30, 31. 31 was another in California. It's a California one. I'll come back to that. 32 was a Texas one. I will come back to that. 34 was New Orleans. 35 maybe was a New York one,
I
I
believe that was in
think.
New Jersey, if that helps.
Oh, okay. Maybe they had a takeover in New York or something like that, or around that 2019 time. 36 was pandemic. That counts as Florida, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it
So there
does.
we go. That's four. I said 37 before. 38 and 39. Okay. So I'm saying roughly four in Florida. Maybe they had one earlier than then, but that's what I'm going with for the moment. Texas. So there was 17, there was 25, there was 38. That's three. Surely they must have had some other one because those were all, I'm pretty sure, in Houston. But let me just allow for another number four. Um, let's keep thinking. California had the one in Hollywood, WrestleMania 16, had the 31 that I said before, had 21 as well. That was another Hollywood focused one. Um, Chicago, Detroit, Orlando. Let's head backwards. 19 was Seattle, 18 was Canada, 15 was Philadelphia. Philadelphia is getting another one, and I think they've had this might be the third, but I can't imagine that there was much more than that.
Gonna have to press you for an answer, Thanassia. You've said many states. Which one's the one that you feel most confident in?
I am tossing up between Florida and New York, but I think I'm going to go with New York. New York, the state of New York.
The correct answer you were looking for was California,
Ah,
which has had it 7 times. So they've had
seven
it
times.
WrestleManias. So the first one, WrestleMania 2, that had 3 venues. I counted each one as a host
Mm-hmm.
state. Then it had WrestleManias 7, 12, 16, 21, 31, and obviously last year, 39. So it's had it quite a few times. Even I didn't realize how much until I was actually researching it.
The early ones, definitely number two and number seven, they would have tripped me up. I should have known 12 because I have seen many times that was when Shawn Michaels he won it in Anaheim, California. I've seen that on the stats many times. But yes, no, you're right. So that one was another Hollywood one.
Question number 9. After the very first edition, when was the Women's Championship next defended at WrestleMania?
Wait, after the what? When was it next defended?
After the very first edition.
Hmm. Okay, I know it was defended at WrestleMania 17, 100%, 18, 100%. At 16, I don't actually think it was because they had that weird throw you out of the ring stipulation between Terry and Miss Kitty or the cat. At 15, I did watch 15 recently, and I can't recall if it was defended. And there was a long hiatus as well where they didn't have the women's title. And for fear of, I'm going to go with the earliest one that I'm 100% certain of, and I'm going to go with WrestleMania 17.
I can't fault the logic, Thanasia. The correct answer was WrestleMania 10. And that
Oh,
was
okay.
Alundra Blaze versus Leilani Kai or Kay. And interestingly enough, Leilani
Medusa.
Kai was the person in the original match as well against Wendy Richter.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was just a little bit of a fun thing. And the final question, question number 10. Which WrestleMania was the first to not feature an Intercontinental Championship match.
The first to not feature one.
Obviously, it's a big title in the company and
Mm,
was part of many WrestleManias. When was the first time that it actually didn't make it onto the card?
okay, well, that's a very interesting question. So I'm going to head backwards on the ones that I know of. So I'm pretty sure. Is it in? I'm going to skip back quite a while because I know that it's been defended many times recently. So I'm thinking that definitely was at three because that was Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage. So I'm thinking about four onwards. Four had that tournament for the world title. So that might have been one way to knock it off the card potentially. I will come back to it. I know that it was also defended at six in a winner takes all between Warrior and Hogan. Um, it was definitely defended at 16. That was the two fall match, the only match where you could say this match is scheduled for two falls, where I think it was Benoit took the Intercontinental Championship. At 15, I'm not entirely sure. I can't quite. Oh, actually, no. I think there was some kind of a defense, maybe um, with Jeff Jarrett potentially was in around that time. At 14, I think that was the one where Shamrock made The Rock tap, but the decision was then reversed. So 13 and back. 13, I'm not quite sure. Actually, it might have been maybe Razor was defending around that time. Not too sure there. I know 10 also has a very notable Intercontinental Championship match. However, for my logic, that because it was a one night tournament for the world title and maybe it just got pushed out of the off the card, that potentially it was that WrestleMania number 4. So that's my final answer.
The correct answer we were looking for was WrestleMania 12.
12.
So at WrestleMania 4, in your position, I probably would have said the same thing. But that actually had a match, Brutus Beefcake versus the Honky Tonk Man for the Intercontinental Championship. WrestleMania 12, funnily enough, it saw at the time the champion was actually Goldust. And instead of defending his title, he actually wrestled Roddy Piper in I think, Hollywood backlot brawl or something.
Yeah. So he was on the card and just
So he was on the
didn't
card, but
defend the strap.
for whatever reason, he didn't defend the strap, which I have no idea why. Then I see you finished with 5 out of 10, but considering this is a quiz on basically 40 years of history, I actually don't think that's bad at all.
I think I could have done a bit better, but I'm curious to see what our listeners and what the viewers did because this was it was a tricky quiz. It was a tricky one.
Let us know in the comments below how you did.